Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Arianna Bennett. Thank you for joining us. Well, media literacy is the name of the game this episode, something very near and dear to the hearts of journalists. And just like learning languages or math skills, it's a skill that's best learned young. So how do we get it into the curriculum for young students? I'm back with Steve Mulvenon and Jody Bader from the News Literate Community Initiative. Thank you again, both, for your time.
Oh, sure, of course.
You both have spent years working in education. The community might recognize you from being a trustee,
Maybe.
Jody, and comms director for a very long time at the school district, Steve. So when we look at kind of integrating this idea of teaching people how to tell fact from fiction and be more savvy users of the internet, how do we get that into schools?
I think Steve should start with that.
Okay. Well, teachers have full plates. Their days are packed with curriculum requirements, so most of them done locally, some from the state. So if we were to come in and say, we want to mandate one more thing to put on a teacher's plate, there'd probably be a rebellion, or at least some serious pushback. We think the way to go at this is maybe try it an inch at a time rather than the entire mile. The National Literacy Project does a great job at developing materials for K-12, and it's being used sporadically in the school district. The Nevada Department of Education is well aware of it. They've done trainings for teachers both in the north and the south. They've been pretty well attended. So I think there's a cadre of teachers out there who can stand up and speak up and say, I've tried this, it's great, it's easy to integrate into the curriculum without it being a mandate from on high. They would be much, I think, more willing to accept it if it was their decision whether to incorporate the material into their classroom, something that they would buy into personally.
Yeah, it's hard to add more. I would argue, and this works better in high school, I think, than the younger years, but replacing. So hear me out.
Sure.
If we are looking at trigonometry, how many people in life are going to use that? We do a year of it in high school. Not knocking the math people out there. I took it. It was good for my brain. But I've never once used it in my adult life. You know what I have used is the ability to tell fact from fiction and read things critically and find true information that then helps me live a better informed life. Is it time to revisit some of these more antiquated curriculum structures that have been there forever and put some stuff in there that's more functional? And I would include financial literacy in that too. You know, I don't really need to know how to find the area of a triangle, but I do need to know how to do my taxes. Just a thought.
You make a powerfully persuasive argument.
Thank you.
I wouldn't challenge that. I think it makes a lot of sense. But imagine the inertia that you're going to have to overcome to get that kind of really a fundamental sea change of the way we're organizing and
Well, that's what I'm trying to imagine, and you two know because you've been in it. Why is there this inertia? Factor of trying to make a change to curriculum. Why is it so hard? You know the system inside and out.
We used to have this joke that some teachers were still using those laminated lesson plans from 1979.
Is that a joke?
That was kind of a joke.
Is that a joke?
It was kind of a joke. Now that's probably 1989, but I think education is just, for some reason, it's hard to change. It's just hard to change because people are in there for the long haul. I think complacency often sets in, not always, but often sets in. And I think if teachers are doing a great job, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world.
100%.
If they're doing a not good job, well, it can be an easy job. But I think what it takes to change even a lesson plan and a curriculum for one particular course it's a lot of energy. And of course, we can go into the payment issues and the time involved, and it's not easy. Education is not easy, and then there are so many other factors that they have to consider, and then we have student behavior. So it's complicated.
Well, but on a maybe a little more positive outlook on it, we've met with a couple of teachers from the district. There were a number of retired educators at that recent meeting we had. So I'm not pessimistic about the probability of getting some kind of a program like this instituted. I think it's just going to take some time. And when we continue to do our outreach, meeting with moms and dads and educators is going to be a key part of our audience. So I think we're trying to build a community groundswell, and if we're successful in doing that, it's not just going to be crazy Judy and crazy Steve trying to get this done. It'll be like I said, I think groundswell in the community.
I think you're right. I think that very few people would disagree with this. I think most people believe that it's the right thing to do. And I think it's just a matter of challenging some norms, which I've never fully understood about academia when we have the smartest people in a room, how we can be so resistant to recognizing what's right there.
Well, both, I'm thinking of a couple of those teachers that we met with who were just jazzed at the idea. In fact, one of them said, I have taught media literacy in my classes on my own free will. I just recognized how important it was. I built it in and ran with it. Those are the kind of people that we're trying to pull into this groundswell movement. And if we continue to do that, I think there are some exciting things ahead.
And I love that you're doing it.
And I think we've met with several social studies teachers, and they're the ones that seem to be the most jazzed about it who are currently teaching. It's like, we go over this all the time because we talk about current events, and we have to talk about fake news. And Steve's right, there are some teachers that are really excited about it, some have really incorporated into their own lesson plans, and there are state standards. So even though there's not a standalone media literacy class or course, it is integrated into a number of content areas.
Yeah.
We know that. And some teachers are more excited about it than others and find it more appropriate for their material.
Yeah, and I can see that. I think that it is more applicable for older ages, but I think teaching kids to recognize the potential red flags young will just, build on that over years, and then, we get to this point where people are really savvy about it. Okay, so that's kind of the educational piece of all this. If people want to, and I hope they do, help, what are you asking? What do you need?
Well, this is going to take all hands on deck. Everybody in the community really has a part to play, even if it's just educating themselves about it. And we're going to have another meeting coming up in September, and we hope to have even more people than we had at the last one, and people taking on different roles. Maybe some people will want to develop the training program for ambassadors. Some people will want to be ambassadors. Some people will want to work on News Literacy Week. And then, as I said, a lot of people were excited about the idea of a summit close to the time of primary elections. So I think there's room for everybody, depending on what their involvement, what kind of involvement they see themselves having.
All right, so you need bodies. Do you need money?
Well, yes, we do need money, and we're about to get a 501c3 that we can access. So there'll be more information about that, but we realize that's got to be part of it if we really want to accomplish what we think we can. Yeah.
Okay.
The nice thing that I found, the National News Literacy Project has not only information for K-12, they're starting to kind of branch out a little bit and trying to develop people for our age, the adult community. If your viewers would go to newslit.org, that's the website for that whole project. They have a great source called Rumor Guard. It's kind of like Snopes, if viewers know what that is. It's a way to check what's real, what's not. So we've got both initiatives going with some K-12, hopefully, but what our focus is right now is with the adult community and trying to get them on board So maybe over the dinner table, moms and dads and kids can have some semi-intelligent conversations about what did you hear
That'd be
today
great.
and what's true
Yeah.
and what's not.
Yeah, and how do we figure that out? And
Yeah.
you know, the News Literacy Project does have a big component for parents, and the district is very interested in involving parents. So we think that's probably our nexus with the district, is really through the parent involvement part.
Okay, fighting the good
Yeah.
fight. And so you gave one website. If people want to contact you about getting involved with this local arm, how can they do that?
Send me an email, would be great, and I can give you my email address, or you can have it on your website for viewers to get.
Yeah, we can post it for sure.
great.
And then a Google, can they Google the project?
They can Google News Literacy Project, and they'll find out a lot.
Okay,
Newslit.org.
but you're the local branch of it. We're still in progress.
Correct.
Okay.
You're on the ground floor.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Got the scoop. You heard it here first. All right, 30 seconds left. Before we go, just any final message, what you'd like people to take away?
I want people to know that this is really about fact from fiction in all kinds of news. You know, people may jump to the idea that this is just current event and, you know, some political bent to it, but this is all kinds of news. We are not experts in news literacy. We know that it needs to happen, and we can't tell people what's true and what isn't. We only want to give them skills so they can figure that out.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I sure appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
That is it for this episode of Face the State. For more information or to see past episodes, head to 2news.com. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week.